Hey guys, what's up? It's Kay, and today we'll be looking at the robot Damashii Zeta Gundam. So this particular one, I actually purchased this in my local anime store. It's just maybe 15-20 minute drive away from my place. So yeah, back then I actually had the SCM EX Zeta Gundam, but when this got announced, I actually got excited because the SCM EX Zeta Gundam is actually a good figure, but it's kind of a little bit small for a Zeta Gundam. So I wanted my Zeta Gundam to be a little bit bigger or taller than my RX-78. So that's why I purchased this, and I'll also let you know what's actually my main reason why I got this figure, and I'll tell you all about it in a bit. So let's start with the boring ones first. So let's start with accessories. So I'll just move this aside, and let's start with the shield. Alright, so oh yeah, and I actually added some panel lines and decals on this, so it doesn't really look like this out of the box. So again, out of the box it's gonna look like I'll put a picture here, there. Okay, so out of the box it doesn't have any linings or decals on it. So here's the shield. So normally it doesn't look like this, and I just added decals and panel line on it, and it has a shield connector. It's on a double hinge, as you can see, a hinge there and a hinge there, so it has a lot of movement on there, and this is actually the main reason why I got the figure, and I'll tell you the reason why I like this shield connector as soon as after we end the video. So that's pretty much it, just the shield, a very plain shield. And next is the beam rifle. So here's the beam rifle, again with decals and lining on it. No, I actually didn't put lining on this, but I added a few decals here and there. So on this particular one, the magazine clip can be removed, and you just have to peg it on there, and it's on a, for some reason they added a ball joint on there. I'm not really sure why they added that on there, so it actually pops off easily, but I honestly don't know why they made that on there when they could have done something better. Anyway, so it just goes like this, and since it's in a ball joint, it can rotate, and this thing can actually stretch out, and you have the full rifle mode going on. So that's pretty much it with the rifle. And what else do we have here? And alright, so we have the backpack next, again with decals and lining on here. So these two binders are on a ball joint, so they can wiggle around and rotate, and this can go up and down. What else? There's the wings on here. It's actually pretty good. This is one thing I liked about this figure. Alright, so it has that feature going on. And you can just slide it back in. That's it. And there's a clip on there, or yeah, there's a connector on there. All you have to do is just peg it in on the back of the Zeta Gundam. And the last accessory that he has is the Hyper Mega Launcher. Now this thing has I think most Zeta Gundam figures have this feature. So this can open up, and there's a handle you can pull out. You can just close that, and if you want it, if you want the figure holding it on the other side, you can totally do so, because it has another handle there. Aside from that one, there's a handle here if you want him to grab it. If you want his beam saber holding hand, to grab it like so, that's how you do it. And this can also stretch out if he's ready to launch the hyper mega beam launcher. And lastly, aside from the handle, you have the main handle here, which is a little bit tricky to pull out. Alright, so there you go, that's the main handle, and then the two handles are on each side. So for hands, you're already seeing that it comes with a pair of closed fists, and you get two very detailed open palm hands. I actually like this. This is actually the best looking open palm hands that I've seen so far, so I like this one a lot, especially when you're doing, you know, dynamic poses. This one comes in handy a lot. All right, oops, sorry about that. And again, I showed you the other one earlier, so it comes with two beam saber hands. Let's see here, come on, focus. All right, so it comes with two beam saber hands, and let's see here, trigger finger hand. So two, actually a pair of trigger finger hands. Come on, focus, come on. There you go. So it comes with two trigger finger hands, a left and for the right one. And lastly, you have a another hand for his right arm, and this hand is specifically for him to hold the hyper mega launcher somewhere here, because it's pretty thick and he won't be able to hold it with the other one. So this is for him to be able to grab the hyper mega beam launcher if you want the figure to use the thing as a sword or a beam saber, because he actually has that feature, and my camera is having a hard time focusing. There we go. So yeah, this is for him to hold the hyper mega beam launcher. And I cannot find the he comes with a beam saber also. I can't find it, unfortunately, but the beam can be detached, and you can put this on here like so. And what else do we got? So let's proceed with the figure, since boring stuff is done. So again, like what I told you guys, I normally add panel lines, decals, and flat coat on my figure, so normally it doesn't look like this one. So I'll set this aside right here, and I will post a picture of what it looks like originally here. So let's take a brief pause and compare the two. Alright, so going with articulation, the head can do a check-in a little bit, and it can rotate a little bit, and unfortunately it cannot go 360. That's fine. You don't really have to make the Gundam turn its head 360, because that would be weird. For the ab crunch, that's one thing I don't like about this figure. Cannot really see, like, that's pretty much what it can do. That's it. That's pretty much it. So for the ab crunch, the SCM EX actually is better when it comes to the ab articulation. And then it has, for the arms, it has a butterfly hinge. So it has a little bit of butterfly hinge going on. So on this one, the SCM EX, if you have one, it's still better when it comes to the ab crunch and the butterfly joint going. The SCM EX is actually better when it comes to the butterfly joint and the ab crunch. But it is there, you know, that's pretty much, but it is there, you know, that's pretty much, I guess, helpful in a way. If you're posing it with the hyper mega beam launcher, this is for him to be able to grab the rifle with the other hand. Alright, so moving on, the shoulders, this wiggles around like so, And I think, yeah, there's a hinge here, so that can go up and down for both arms. The waist, it cannot go 360. Again, that's fine. It doesn't really have to. The arms has a 180 bend, and it can go as high as that, and it can go 360, no problem. The hand is on a ball joint. I think it's on a double ball joint. Let me check. It's just a single ball joint. Anyway, that's fine. The skirt, right, it can go up and down. They're on a separate connection. The side skirts can go a little bit, can go up and down for a little bit. Again, that's fine. It doesn't really have to go that high. Back skirt is on a single connection. Again, that's fine also, and you can see some detail there as well. And what else do we see here? So you just plug in the backpack there. For the legs, let's see, that can do a split. Well, not really a split, but the legs can go as wide as that. Again, the SCM EX is better than this, but this one is still a good figure. And the knee, double jointed. It has a double joint on there. It's just that this is just as far as it can go. And what else do we have there? The ankles can go sideways. It has a foot articulation also, so it can rotate like so. Foot guard, or this thing, can move too, and the flap behind its foot can also move. And I think that's about it. Overall, it's still a good figure. It's pretty stable, unlike because one thing I don't like about Zeta kits, since they are transformable, they tend to be flimsy or unstable, especially the Gundam fixed figuration Zeta Gundam, which it's very terrible. My best friend had one, or has one, and I was toying with it, and I didn't really like it. It's very unstable and it falls down a lot, but it looks great though, don't get me wrong. That's one thing I like about the GFF Zeta Gundam. It's just that it's very unstable. So since this guy doesn't have the transformation gimmick, he's actually very stable and very playable, which I really like, because I don't really like the transformation gimmick. So for the accessories, so we'll go ahead and plug the shield. So it's on a peg, as you can see, and then there's a hole on there. So all you have to do is just plug that in like so. And then I almost forgot, he has this accessory. This is just to cover his forearm, because you can actually plug in the beam rifle on his forearm. You see how there's a peg on there, and then there's a hole. All you have to do is just peg that in like so. As you can see, if you saw the intro, it was actually plugged in. So nope, come on, I'm still trying to figure out the focus feature on this camera. Anyway, alright, so you can plug it like so, but if you don't like plugging that in, that's fine. Just remove that and place this in there or on there, and that's gonna cover up that space. So you can use it either in both arms, whichever you like. So for the backpack, just plug this in also. There you go. Alright, and I'll go ahead and switch the hands and use a beam saber holding hand for the left one. That way he can hold the hyper mega beam launcher like so. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So that's done. I'll give out my thoughts and opinions on this figure in a bit. Just give me 1 second. I forgot to mention, like, the main thing or the main reason why I wanted this figure so bad, it's because of the shield connector. Because as you can see, he's able to pull off, or you are able to display the shield like this without having to do the gorilla pose. So now what I meant by the gorilla pose is that most Zeta Gundams, and I'm pretty sure the kits were like this as well, most Zeta Gundam figures or kits, for you to be able to display the shield, you actually have to display it like this, which is weird for me. It's just, it reminds me of a gorilla, like so that's just weird to me. Like, I honestly don't like that. I prefer shields being displayed, you know, properly, like so, without having to do the gorilla pose. So the arm is just, you know, in its standard position. You're not gonna pose it sideways, but you're able to display the shield properly without having to, you know, display the arm like that, because it just bothers me a lot. So I kind of like that's actually the main reason why I wanted this Zeta. I didn't want to have a Zeta Gundam pose like this with its arm, you know, with the arm posed like this while the shield is like that. So with the shield connector, you're able to pose it with the arm in its standard position, and this shield is sideways. So I'll actually post a couple of pictures coming from different lines, so that you'll get what I mean by the gorilla pose that I'm mentioning. So I'll just post something here, maybe the MSIA. I'll post the GFF here, perfect grade, and whatever. But I'll post a few pictures here. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so final thoughts on the figure. Again, I like this figure a lot. From the regular or standard releases that they released so far, to me, or in my opinion, this is actually so far the best regular release that I have. He's very playable, very stable. No issues, actually. No issues with the figure also. So the only thing I don't like about this figure is the ab crunch. As you saw earlier, he doesn't really have that much ab crunch, so you can actually mess with it. A friend of mine, Vic, if you know him, Vic01 or Vic Valdez, made a modification on the ab. So he opened up the torso and did a little bit of modification to give this guy more ab crunch or more articulation on the abs, which is pretty cool. But I don't have the skill yet to modify my figures. So aside from that, that's pretty much it. Just the ab crunch and what else? The butterfly joint. But the butterfly joint isn't really a big deal. It's the ab crunch that's a problem for me. But as for size comparison, like what I told you guys, I didn't like how my SCM EX Zeta was smaller than, well, not really smaller, but it's as big as my RX 782. So because I need my Zeta, or I want my Zeta to be at least a little bit taller than my RX 782. So as a size comparison, I'm gonna show you my SCM EX RX 782 beside the robot Damashii Zeta Gundam. So I'll put this here. So as you can see, he is a little bit taller, which is good. But yeah, the SCM EX Zeta Gundam is actually as tall as the RX 782. It's just that it looks smaller if you compare them side by side, because the SCM EX Zeta has a smaller body, so it kind of made it look like the Gundam is actually bigger than the Zeta Gundam, even though they're you know, they have the same height. So yep. So if you see this guy online right now, he's really cheap, especially if you go to Japanese sites or Mandarake. He's pretty affordable and he's very pliable. I highly recommend this figure if you don't have one yet. And yep, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you on my next video.